Hey guys, this is Camford15 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys. And this is another Los Angeles Clippers playoff recap. Oh man, what a freaking game. It was a good game slash bad game altogether. I have mixed feelings about this game. There was things I took away from this game that I liked, while there were some things about this game that I just didn't like whatsoever. But hey, we still got the W at the end of the day. However bad we win, like I said, a win's a win. You'll take it, especially if it's in the playoffs. I say this for any freaking sport. I don't care. I don't watch hockey, but I'll say if it's for hockey, definitely baseball, and even football. And basketball, if you can win a playoff game and still play bad, and you still get the W, then you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. But man, we needed to get a must win here, and we got that must win. And I definitely do believe even more game four is going to be a highly much more must win, especially if the Clippers really want to get out of this series with the Denver Nuggets faster than they tried to do than they were dealing with Denver. Because Denver, they're about to be a team that's just going to give us problems here and there. They're going to give us problems. Although I do like the fact that late in the game, we locked down defensively and we hung our hat on defense. And guess what? The defense turned into offense, which I've been saying at my screen the entire last few hours of that game and really this entire series. Man. So one, credit to the Clippers defense. Credit to the guys for showing up on that part of the defense. Yes, that even includes Montrezl Harrell, who Clipper fans were at some point in the game were ripping their hair out, their head, and probably saying, stop playing him. But hey, I got to give credit where credit is due for Montrezl Harrell. I even said in a tweet saying, like, Montrezl Harrell is literally unplayable. Look, he stepped it up on defense in the last 3 to 2 minutes of the game. Or really, he stepped it up on defense when Zoo fouled out. I got to give credit where credit's due. Like I said, I'll criticize a player mid-game, but if he steps up and makes me shut up, then okay. He shut Clipper fans up today by saying he's virtually unplayable. Now, can we see that type of Trez the entire game he plays? Like, I would like that much. I would just like that. Like, personally, I would just like to see Montrezl Harrell playing like he did in that last 2 to 3 minutes of that game. I would like that the entire game. Anyways, your Clippers won by the score of 113 to 107. Lawler's Law actually didn't beat us because Denver actually had 100 points first. We managed to win, so I guess you can say Lawler's Law applies only to us. Anyways, let's get into the stats. Like I said, I'm gonna get into the team stats and the individual box by box score stats, and then really just end this video off talking about some things, really morally some things that I think the Clippers desperately need to work on. And if you know what I'm talking about they desperately need to work on. Field goal percentage, or the field goal, Clippers hit 41 out of their 75 shots, while Denver hit 3 more than we did. And guess what? We still end up winning, even though we were 3 less field goals than them. We shot the ball better than them. We had a 54.7 field goal percentage, while Denver had a 46.8 field goal percentage. Both teams had 11 three-pointers. And thank goodness Denver went cold from 3 legit in the last 2 minutes of that game, because if they just had one of their three-pointers in that game, the game might end up differently. I'm just going to say that. Both teams didn't really shoot the ball from 3 really well. Both were kind of around the 30% range. We were 35.5%, while Denver was 32.4%. Free throws, we had 26 free throw attempts and made 20 of them. It would have been nice if we hit a few more than that, like say maybe 3 more. Denver only had 10. Now, some people are going to look at the stats and say, oh, well, look at that. The Clippers freaking got to the line more. than the freaking Nuggets. The refs were on their side. You would be to say that you clearly didn't watch the game. Clearly, you must not know what you're talking about because what I saw on my screen is Kawhi still not getting the foul call respect from the refs. But apparently Nikola Jokic, you can't even touch him and he still pick up a foul and stuff like that, which is a reason why Zubats fell down. We got into foul trouble early on. Like, I'm sorry. The refereeing this series has been terrible the last couple of games. One, they've been terrible, but they've been treating Kawhi with the most disrespectful I've seen. This dude's getting hounded on offense, where he's dribbling. Like, you have 3 or 4 Denver Nuggets literally pounce in on this guy. No foul call as he's moving his arms up. No foul call. But Nikola Jokic, all he can do is dribble much, pound on you, and then just try to bounce right off you, and that's called a foul. Okay. Yeah. Please. I'm sorry. But some of the overselling Nikola Jokic does not warrant fouls. And the fact that the refs are giving him the benefit of the doubt, that needs to change. I'm sorry. You can clearly see that Nikola Jokic is flopping. There was one egregious foul that he clearly flopped on, and they still called that a foul. Anyways, let's move on. Free throw percentage, Denver was 80%, while we were 76.9%. Shockingly, we had more rebounds than Denver. Well, Denver had 36. At some point, there was a point in the game, just like game 2, where we were struggling to get rebounds. Well, I wouldn't say struggling. We were giving a lackluster effort to getting rebounds, which, as you can see when you get to the offensive defensive rebounds, Denver out-rebounded us on the offensive board again. You want to know why? That's because the bench. And that was also because of bad playing from, that second unit that got in. We cannot let these fools out-rebound us on the boards. Especially let them get offensive boards. Because them getting offensive boards literally makes this game closer than what it already should be. If they do not give these offensive boards and these second chance points, the score is probably bigger than it already is. We got 38 rebounds, and we had 10 more rebounds than Denver in defensive rebounds, so that was good. I did like the fact that we got clutch rebounds late in that game, and it wasn't like the one loose ball rebound where Gary Harris airballed off a block, and then Jamal Murray goes under the rim and picks the rebound up. That's what I'm talking about in terms of lackluster defense. Or say Jamal Murray missing a shot and getting his own rebound as Montrezl Harrell stands there and watches him get his own rebound. That's one of the things I didn't like. And this is the one thing starting really in game 2 that I didn't like to see. The Clippers need to have more emphasis and more aggression and more effort into getting these loose rebounds. You cannot have Denver getting second chance points or getting their own rebound and turning that second rebound into points. Because if that happens, then you put yourself in a hole. And it's worse if they hit threes off those loose ball rebounds as well. They get on the offensive side of the ball. So hopefully they watch the film and Doc puts it in their head. You need to get the rebounds. Put some effort into reboundings. The second unit, which another thing, again, I'll probably say this at the end, but the second unit, this entire playoff go has been really bad, like really bad. Denver had more assists than we did. They had 32 while we had 23, but I will say this, the ball moved much more better than it did in game 2. Game 2, we didn't ISO nearly as much as we did in game 3 here. We had 4 blocks, including that really incredible block by Kawhi Leonard, which I honestly believe might have saved the game. Well, was one of the reasons why we won this game. Just by his middle finger, he managed to block. Jamal Murray tried to do what Michael Porter Jr. did to Montrez, but Kawhi was like, nope, you're not having that on my watch. Denver had 10 steals while we had 7. we still had high amount of turnovers. There was a part in this game where we were just turning the ball over constantly. Can we stop doing? Can we stop turning the ball over, please? Can we stop with that? Like I said, I'll take the win, but I'm going to point out the flaws, guys. I'm going to point out the flaws. There were flaws in this game. Like I said, the Clippers won, but it was an ugly game. The really only thing I really liked about what I saw from the Clippers tonight is Paul George and the defense within the last 2 to 3 minutes of this game. Everything else, I was kind of like, well, I'll take the win, even though it wasn't pretty. The Clippers have to stop turning the ball over. There was a point in the game, the Denver Nuggets had 0 turnovers, which goes to show you the Clippers' defense at the time was lackluster as well. And then they started forcing turnovers. Nikola Jokic rolls into the paint. Now they start pocketing guys, pickpocketing him. Okay. Yeah, the turnovers, they need to come down. Now, the good thing about the good thing too is we led the points in points off turnovers. We had 17 points. So the turnovers we caused on Denver, we got points off that, 17 points. I'll take that. That's almost 20. And guess what? The only points Denver had off turnovers was 9. That's good. Let's keep it like that. Well, other than turning the ball over. We led the game in fast break points, even though Denver, well, in terms of Nikola Jokic, was literally throwing the basketball like a damn football around on the field. Shit. I just remembered. Oh, no, actually, no. The Clippers do not play Saturday on Game 5. Good. They do play on Saturday on Game 5. Okay, yeah. Denver only had 12. Now, Denver led and points in the paint, mostly thanks to Nikola Jokic and the fact that the Clippers had a lot of guys just, cutting to the rim when Nikola Jokic would just pass it to them. We had 42 points. Again, we had 20 fouls. Well, Denver had 27. The largest lead of the game was 12, and that was on Denver's side. All right, let's get to the individual stats. And let's talk about this game because for win purposes, I'm gonna talk about the Nuggets first in their stats. So let's talk about the Denver Nuggets stats first before anything. And in the meantime, I'm gonna pause this game because I don't want to get copyright struck. Okay, Nuggets. So in 28 minutes, Paul Millsap scored 11 points. He was a -6. He went 5 from 7 from the field. He had one of his free throws. He had 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Now, late game, Paul Millsap was literally non-existent. But early on in this game, he was becoming a nuisance. We cannot have Paul Millsap killing us, guys. Paul Millsap, fine. If they hold him to 11 points, that's fine by me. That's fine by me. I'll take him. As long as he's not killing us, that's fine by me. Jeremy Grant, he had 11 points. Funny thing is, he's currently trending right now on Twitter. And the funny thing is, the whole thing, Nuggets, going back to the locker room to beat up Jeremy Grant, that gif. Because Jeremy Grant literally went cold late in that game. If he had hit at least one 3-pointer, it might have changed the game. But thank God he didn't. Surprisingly, he played more minutes than Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. He had 42 minutes. He went 5 from 14 from the field, so his Clipper killing self wasn't here today. He was 1 from 6 from the 3-point line. He had 3 rebounds, and he was a -10 on the court. Okay, that's fine. I'll live with that. If he's doing literally no damage, I'll live with the Clipper killer, Jeremy Grant. Nikola Jokic, who was tonight's Clipper killer, in 39 minutes had 32 points. And there was just a point in the game. This dude, I'm sorry. I don't think the Clippers have an answer to Nikola Jokic this series. I think you're just going to have to deal with what he does. The best thing you can do is just get the ball out of his hand by doubling him. That's the best thing you can do. But listen, The Clippers do have to play better defense on Nikola Jokic. Like, there was a stretch where Nikola Jokic hit 3 straight 3-pointers because the Clippers did not rotate out to him. They literally just let him go, which I don't know why we're not switching that up. We should switch that up because whoever's picking and rolling, guess what? They're driving in on Zubats. Yeah, 9 out of 10 times, they're probably not going to make that shot. But guess what? If you switch it up, they can't pass to Jokic because Jokic is already guarded by somebody, despite whoever's guarding him at that point. I think that's what Dr. Rivers needs to do. Say on the pick and rolls with anybody and Nikola Jokic, just switch it up. Zoo just drop back, and whoever is, getting the pick and roll, go with Jokic. So, he was 13 from 24 from the field. Like I said, he was a killing. He had 3 3-pointers, which was the stretch of 3-pointers he hit, which he went ballistic. He had 12 rebounds, 8 assists, and 1 steal. He was a -8 on the court. I don't think he should have been a -8 on the court because he was legit killing us. Like I said, Nikola Jokic is a problem. But again, it also helped when the refs are on his side when he just throws things up and he gets fouls calls. So, the Clippers got to do a better job at guarding him at the 3-point line. I will say that. I also say the Clippers should try to get the ball out of his hand, even though, you're making him pass to maybe potentially a wide open 3-point shooter. Yeah, but if the Clippers close out on those 3-point shooters and make Denver make that extra pass where you can reset your defense to what it used to be, well then good. That's a win defensively. Jamal Murray. He didn't particularly play well either himself. In 38 minutes, he had 14 points. He was 5 from 17 from the field, and only 2 of his 3-pointers. Had 2 free throws, had 4 rebounds, and 9 assists. He had 2 steals as well. Also, going back to Jokic, he almost dropped a triple-double today. Let's try not to let that happen again, please. Because the dude in the first quarter was literally on the road to a triple-double. I'm not even joking. Going back to Jamal Murray, can I just say Paul George locked down on him? He put the clamps on him. You want to know why Jamal Murray has only damage in the first half of game 2? Want to know the reason why? The difference is this. Utah barely plays defense when it comes to their guards. But the Clippers, in the perimeter sense, they will play defense if they feel like it. It seems like the Clippers want to stop Jamal Murray more than they want to stop Nikola Jokic. But hey, that's fine by me. If they want to commit all their effort to stopping Jamal Murray and just say, let Nikola Jokic get what he wants, again, that's fine by me because guess what? That means you don't have a second 20-point per game scorer right there in Jamal Murray. It's like I said, Jamal Murray is a nice complementary piece to Nikola Jokic. He's a good player, but he ain't a star player. I think he's a good complementary piece. He'll drop 30 points occasionally here and there, 20 as well, 50, and I would say once in a freaking blue moon. But Jamal Murray, in my opinion, he's a good player, but he's like the equivalent of a role player. He has the potential to be a star player, which, hey, I think he personally can be a star player. I just don't. You can look at game 2. Yes, he had 26 points, but let's be honest. He did most of his damage in the first half in game 2. In the second half, he did literally next to nothing. Here, nothing. 14 points. So, again, that's another win defensively by the Clippers. And that's mostly thanks, again, to Paul George because he put the clamps on him. He made sure he got nothing. Gary Harris, they did a much better job here, even though he did get annoying after a while. But he had 10 points in 35 minutes. He was a -14 in the court, which I believe led the Jazz in negative plus-minus. He was 36 from the field. He had 2 of his 3-pointers, and 2 of his free throws. He had 1 rebound, 6 assists, and he had 4 steals. Now, let's not make Gary Harris make us turn the ball over. Mason Plumlee, only 2 points. He was a +2 on the court, and one of the 2 players who had a +2. 9 minutes, he was 1 from 2. He had 2 rebounds and 2 assists. Michael Porter Jr., who had his coming out party, which hopefully never happens again. Maybe it's because his dad was in the building. But it's too bad because I can still tell to his dad that his dad, at the end of the day, he lost. So that dunk is completely worthless now. Even though that dunk made me question, one, is that a charge? And two, made me want to get Montrezl Harrell out of the game quicker than ever before. He had 18 points. He was a +6, which he led the Jazz. No, actually, no. Monte Morris actually led the Jazz in plus minus. He was a +6 on the court. He was 8 from 7 from the field. Most of them shots he made were literally off loose ball offensive rebounds. He had 2 of his 3-pointers. He had a double-double, 10 rebounds, because he was getting the offensive boards. He had 3 steals, another player converting steals that they shouldn't have, and 1 assist. Torrey Craig, he had 0 points. I'm not going to waste my time with this stats. Monte Morris had 9 points. He was a +7 on the court. In 18 minutes. He was 4 out of 5. He had 1 of his 3-pointers, had 1 rebound, and 4 assists. So, yeah, really, if there was another Nugget player that stepped up, really, which was probably Jamal Murray, they might have actually won this game thanks to Nikola Jokic dropping 32. But, hey, we weathered that storm and we came back and played some quality defense. And I don't know why my camera's all brown like that, but okay. Hold on. Whatever. I'm not gonna mess with it. Okay. Let's get to the Clippers. So in 42 minutes, Kawhi Leonard had 23 points. He played a much better, efficient game than he did in Game 2. He shot the ball in 9 out of 19. He had 1 of his 3-pointers. He had 4 out of 6. Hit 4 out of 6 free throws. I want him to make 4 free throws. He shouldn't be missing free throws. He had a crazy 14 rebounds, so he had a double-double tonight. He had 6 assists and 2 blocks with, like I said, that one really good, honestly, like I said, maybe potentially game-saving block right there. He was a +10 on the court. Kawhi Leonard, like I said, played good, but let's be honest. I think we can all say as Clipper fans that Paul George carried this team and even carried Kawhi here. I'm not even going to lie. Paul George did literally all the work here. Well, actually, I'll get into Paul George later. Marcus Morris, who played a much better game 2 here. He had 12 points. He was a +18 on the court. In 35 minutes, he had 6 of his shots. He didn't make 1 of his 3-point shots. Now, he would have if Zubac wasn't staying in the paint too long and didn't get that 3-second violation. He had 4 rebounds and 3 assists. Marcus Morris played a much better game than game freaking 2. Zubac had 8 points. He obviously posterized somebody as well. He was a +10 on the court. He had 1 of his shots, which again, like I said, was his dunk. And most of his points came from the free throw line. He had 3 rebounds. He also fouled out here too. And like I said, it's those ticky-tack fouls from Jokic. The refs really got to do something because all Jokic does is he hooks either your arm to get the foul call, which they did call an offensive foul on, or he literally elbows you in the back of the neck, and the refs are just not calling it. Patrick Beverley, I thought he played really good. Morally better on the defensive side than the offensive side, but he did make a really clutch-like steal on Michael Porter Jr. He had 7 points. He led the team in the minus section. He was a -13. Like I said, even though he was a -13, he still played pretty well. He played a really good defensive game, which again shows you why we really need this kind of defense. He was 6 from 3 from the field. He hit 1 of his 3-pointers. He had 4 rebounds, which again he made a really clutch, offensive rebound late in the game as well, which gave us a second chance. He had 1 block, 1 steal, and 3 assists. Much more for Patrick Beverley. Now the guy who single-handedly saved us the game and probably saved the series for us, to be honest, is Paul George. In 40 minutes, he had 32 points. So I better not see no Paul George slander on Twitter tonight. He literally, to be honest, carried the Clippers tonight. Like, when I say carried the Clippers, his 32 points, all of it mattered. He carried the Clippers tonight. Heck, even Kawhi said in his post game, we followed his lead. If it wasn't for him, I'm going to be honest. If Paul George does not score 32 points, and maybe he scores like 20, we lose this game. We lose this game. Paul George was hitting clutch three after clutch three. He was hitting the daggers after daggers, and he was really, and I mean really phenomenal on defense. Probably his best game on defense as a Clipper I have seen. Like, he locked Jamal Murray up, like, really bad. Like, even though Jamal Murray had 14 points tonight, he got locked up. He got locked up. Playoff P showed up tonight. If this is a good sign coming, then hey, I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Playoff P. I need him to play like this. Again, hopefully Kawhi comes around and gets nearly to the point where he's dropping 30 as well. But like I said, Paul George is the MVP tonight. He carried the Clippers tonight. He carried them. JaMychal Green had 7 points. He did really well, even though he didn't, like I said, like Hyder Beverly had a -7. He came in and did his job. He had one of his 3-pointers. He was 3 or 4 from the field. Had 2 assists and 3 rebounds, 1 and 1 block. I do like the lineup where they put JaMychal Green at the 5. It literally, I will say, works because it creates more spacing. Doc Rivers needs to use that lineup much more because it's definitely working against the Denver Nuggets. Montrezl Harrell hit 11 points. Just, it was kind of 11 points where you're like, man, I'll take it. I did make a tweet saying, how Montrezl Harrell said when he comes back, he's going to be dangerous. Up until really the last few minutes of the game, he wasn't the Montrezl Harrell I thought he was. And come to think about, the bench has been honestly bad this entire thing. But Montrezl Harrell has been one of the reasons why he hasn't been the Montrezl Harrell we all love and know. And there was even a point I was like, man, he should have just stayed. Like, he should have just not came back to the bubble. But hey, he proved me wrong, so I have to eat crow from him. That's the 6th man of the year right there. He hit 2 of his 3 shots. He hit 7 of his 10 free throws, so he was pretty decent from the free throw line. He had 3 rebounds and 2 steals, so that was good. Reggie Jackson, 0 points, -5 on the court. There was a play where Reggie Jackson literally spun around like a ballerina and got beat on a defensive play. And thank goodness Doc Rivers said, okay, yeah, I saw that. He took him out of the game, didn't play him no more. Reggie Jackson, like I said before, and I'll say it again, unless he's hitting shots for you, which is spot-up 3-point shots, he's literally unplayable unless he's doing that. If he's giving me a big fat goose egg, Doc Rivers, why is he out there to begin with? His defensive liability, his defensive play is already bad enough as is, to the point he's literally unplayable. It's like I said, Patrick Beverly coming back in the game, even a minutes restriction, makes Reggie Jackson not play as much. He only had 5 minutes this game. You want to know why? Because he doesn't play no defense, and Doc is forced to take him out. Like, come on. If Lou Williams is giving and putting forth an effort to play defense, Reggie Jackson can play better defense instead of playing lazy defense. Because I'm sorry, Lou Williams, we know he's a defensive liability, but these playoffs, man, when Lou Williams needs to play defense, he honestly has played really good defense. I'm not going to lie. Reggie Jackson, on the other hand, he's not playing no defense. He's not at all. That's why Reggie Jackson barely saw the floor. And personally, I'd like to see if he doesn't see the floor at all, because he's unplayable. He's the equivalent of what Roddy McGruder or Terrence Mann would give you. Probably no points, but the difference is, guess what? They'll play defense. Okay, get this steam out of my way. Terrence Mann came in a bit, so yeah. Landry Shamet, he had 3 points. Again, Landry Shamet, he doesn't play. He plays average to subpar defense, but still better than Reggie Jackson. He'll play defense when he needs to play defense. And I totally skipped over Lou Williams. Lou Williams had 10 points. He was a +20, which he led the Clippers in. Mostly because he played really good defense tonight, and he hit buckets when he needed to hit buckets. He was 4 from 11 from the field. He hit 2 3-pointers. He had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. So, listen, Great stuff. Great stuff I saw, and I want to see more of that, please and thank you. Anyways, to end off this video, like I said, some things, I did like the fact of what Paul George did. He literally carried us on his back. And the defense within the last 2 to 3 minutes, we really much locked down on defense. And the Clippers were like, you're not scoring no points. Like there was a point in the game in that moment where Denver only scored, I believe, like 4 or 2 points in that stretch. And we locked down defensively and stopped them. My only question to that is, where was that defense the entire game? If we can lock down defensively within the last 2 minutes, and I know you're saying, hey, it's the last 2 minutes of a game. That's what really matters if you're in a close game. Yes, but the question is this. If we see a semblance of that the entire game, guess what? We might be winning by more points. I was just upset with how bad the defense was, especially when the second unit came in that second quarter. Because, my God, when the second unit came in and played no defense there, literally I thought this when the Denver Nuggets were going to blow us out there. I even made a mention of a tweet by saying the reason why we're down so much where we're down at that point in the game is because the second unit failed to do anything, which again goes into one of my issues. What the hell is wrong with the second unit? This entire playoffs, not just this series, but even the Dallas series, the bench has failed to show up. Before the hiatus, the bench was one of the best benches in the NBA. Now we're literally probably one of the worst benches in the NBA. And because of the bench play, it determines if we lose or win. If we get decent to, average bench play, it's easier for us to win the game. But if we get behind, but if our bench is lacking the offense and even playing, somewhat some semblance of defense, it gets us into trouble. And then the starters have to come back in, fix the bench team's mess, and try to get themselves back in the game. That's what really happened. We had to clean up the Clippers had to clean up after their own messes they got themselves into. And luckily enough, they finally capitalized at a moment and locked down defensively and got the W tonight. Because that's also a good thing. Another thing I just got to say, like I said, and which is the last thing, it's just the effort on the rebounding. It's the effort on the rebounding, which leads into the second unit again. The second unit cannot rebound to save a life. Like if life depended on it, 9 out of 10 times the second unit won't get the rebound. I don't know why, but the second unit, and this even goes back to the Dallas series, they just let these teams get the offensive rebounds. One, that's also because you don't have Zoo in the game to get those rebounds, but also it just comes down to a complete effort. Like I said, there was a point where Jamal Murray missed his shot, literally ran into the paint and got his own rebound before while everyone else, including Trez, was just standing there watching the rebound come to them. No, go get the rebound and go lock it up like they did late in the game. Late in the game, the Clippers were aggressively getting the rebound, jumping up high in the air, getting that rebound so Denver did not get a second chance to get the rebounds. Can I see that the entire game, please and thank you? Put some more effort and some more aggressiveness to getting those loose ball rebounds. I cannot have air balls being made by the Denver Nuggets and a guy goes under the rim and picks up the rebound just like that. Well, everybody's just like, oh, they got the offensive rebound, guys. We got to get back on defense. So that needs to pick up. That definitely needs to pick up. Anyways, the Clippers won tonight. Like I said, even though I was stressed throughout this entire game, we still won, so I can sleep well tonight. Also, Game 4 is going to be a must-win. Game 4 is a must-win for the Clippers. We need to win this game. If the Clippers literally want to end this Denver series quicker than usual, and when I mean win this in 5 games, you need to win Game 4. This cannot be like Dallas last series in round 1, where you let the Denver tie the series up. Because if I feel like Denver ties the series up, this series is going 7 games. I really do believe that. So the Clippers, need to win game 4. If they want to get Denver out of the way and get to the Western Conference Finals, they need to win game 4 to go up 3-1. If that happens, not to say they can't take off in game 5, but hey, finish them off in game 5, man. Like I said, listen, the Clippers did everything wrong. And this is one of those type of losses where it's demoralizing to the Nuggets. Even though they'll still come out in game 4 and fight back. This is one of those losses where it was demoralizing, where they can look at like Nikola Jokic played good, and we were leading for most part of the game. We just didn't do good in the last few minutes. And that should kill him. Listen, if they play, again, really, if they play, lockdown defense like they did in the last 2 minutes for an entire game, it's over for Denver. It's over, regardless what Denver does. And like I said, if Paul George can give us another performance, and if Kawhi can, I would say, like I said, he played fine. He played decent. He played good. But if he could give us, maybe 30 as well, hey, trust me, that's much better. Like I said, the role players got to step up. We got to get these rebounds. So, yeah, like I said, back to the drawing board. Hopefully Doc cleans up some of the issues, and we can go out there and win game 4 on Thursday. Because I would take a game 4 win. We cannot have Denver winning this series. We cannot have Denver winning game 4. We got to finish Denver off in game 4 and then really, truly finish them off in game 5. Because then guess what? You're either going to be waiting for the Rockets or more presumably the Lakers. So, yeah. Okay, man. I'm going to get out of here. It's getting late. I actually got to head to bed because I got school tomorrow online. But, yeah, I got school tomorrow. So, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you guys are having a great rest of your day. Night. And, yeah. So if you like this video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this Clipper win. Do you think game 4 is a must win for the Clippers? Yeah. Also hit the subscribe button to get more Clipper playoff recaps. So till then, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your night. And hopefully you guys are staying safe out there. Peace.